pod layer theory sees more of natural law than any other model of thought. This comes from my Synamnia. My Synamnia sees natural law better than anyone else currently can, and is able to disseminate it for people to use for heroic purposes, and that's what we're doing at this point. It has not been easy to get here, and so that needs to be said, because otherwise it'll confuse people on what they're seeing. So part of pod layer is seeing all of natural law in its most true way, and thus you take away paradoxes, you take away confusion. So unless you show all the elements in play, then you're not really seeing natural law, and the math won't add up. And then the various plans you lay, the various principles you stand on, they'll be shaky, they will fail. So that's why Truthfire is here. I have to actually say where pod layer actually comes from and be honest about that. For example, Jung, he was a punk on that. I'm not going to be punk on that. My spirits insist that I actually say where the stuff comes from and in the way that it arrives. So that's why I'm doing the Truthfire. Now, when it comes to me in this natural, raw way, and I'm a human. I also have fluctuations based on my moods and the way the world is treating me and the various adventures I'm on and how much keening I'm doing, and so on. I'm doing my best to inhabit the most correct character to play the roles that need to be done to bring this great gift out. That means, for example, I have to play Fumasta sometimes, where I'm very much in control. Other times I must show vulnerability and show the rawness, because that's the correct thing to do. These are very different and extreme things, and so I have worked the theory to have pathways and to have disciplines that sort of section up this great, incredible, awesome natural law into usable packages and levers for the human psyche to work with. I have patterned the channels of the pod layer network off of this. It's not exactly a discipline to a channel, but there's a lot of crossover in that way, as I'm trying to get material that's easiest learned in a certain kind of mode as far as technical or other things, and also energy. I'm trying to put them in a given channel. That's a lot of Xi for me, and it's also a lot of V for me to share. So it's an important note. It takes a tremendous amount of modulation, high level keening, stress lock. I have a lot of problems, and it's because I'm pushing myself so hard, but I'm doing it to be a hero, to please my higher spirits, and to save all of you. So I don't do everything right, but I need a little bit of slack in order to do what I do. I'm not going to try to be a primo donna too much, but I do need to be who I am in order to get the job done, and I need to be able to share that. But I also recognize that I need to make the interfaces for the world as ideal and as specific and as relevant as possible. So it's a compromise, and I'm trying to do my best, and I'll continue to try to do my best. So that's a process, and I want you guys to see that, because I'm conflicted on things, and I'm always updating, and I go strong with what I currently know to be, but that changes. I have a lot of things that are just natural law through pod layer that are absolute, like the mojo phenomenon. But that's been a long time percolating to come to that point when new parts of pod layer theory come in, and they'll be updating to infinity. When those happen, they don't come out in that way. They come out in a hit or miss way, a flex factor way, a raw way, a human way. I've mentioned before some of this, and that's why this channel is here, but this relates to the other channels coming out. I do my best to keep the channels specific to the tone of the material that's being covered. Two things. I sometimes slip. I'll own that. I sometimes slip, but I am trying to get better, and I'm stronger now. And there is an overall thematic of the network that does permeate, kind of like a distinct signal of a mojo. There is a distinct signal of the network. The distinct signal of the network is that we're in an emergency. So when we're doing, different channels of mojo reading, we're doing other things like that, it'll try to stay focused on that topic. But it's kind of like if you were being trained, say mojo reading was like a really cool skill for like going to the forest and finding stuff. Just say that for example. Okay, that can be just a cool skill in general. But what if that skill is also, vital for solving the heroic adventure? It's different now. So when you're being trained, you do want to clear your mind to be able to do the mojo reading phenomenon, but you also do need to know this is your truth saber. You're getting this tool to go out and fight stupid. Go inside yourself and fight stupid, and go outside and fight the stupid of the world. That is why you're doing mojo reading. Mojo reading won't spend most of its time going, but because most time is spent on teaching the ins and outs of the technical aspect and also the higher spirit forming that's related specifically to that part of it. But from time to time, there will slip in the overall pervasive message, which is we are in a state of emergency as a species, the globe, everyone in it, all the animals, all the weather, everything is really in a state of crisis. So we don't want that to overly leak into various training departments of it that would inhibit the work. But you also don't want to operate in a vacuum. Operate as if you're not going to do mojo reading. For example, you can't do mojo reading and not recognize that as you do it, you're going to be spirit forming and leveling up inside, and that you're going to have to do your life out here different because you're not in the story you thought you were in. Different story, you have to play a different game. Okay, so you really can't remove that from mojo reading. Does that make sense? So that much will leak into the various channels. The other part, which I mentioned first, is myself. I really have a hard time actually revealing myself in this way, revealing my theory, revealing my spirit forms, revealing my process. It's extremely hard. I get anxious in a way I really just can't put into words, so I have to summon a great deal of ferocity in order to get past that. As best I can, I try to get that ferocity up, in ways that don't overly leak, aren't in the way of the lesson being taught. But sometimes that may happen, and it may have happened earlier, particularly in some of the archive videos coming out, because it was a really, really hard time. This is not an easy time now, but I'm better off. I actually have more theory strength. I have more personal courage developed. My team is stronger. So I'm able to put things out in a better way. So if I actually wasn't in the state that I was in, I would have not leaked some of the rage that is in some of the technical videos. I will state that. If I was not in the state I was in, if I was in a better state when I did them, I would have done that with less rage leakage on technical material, on some of it. But that state was the state I was in. I needed to get that ferocious in order to even get to where I would go forward. That is caused by the world I live in, which is populated by all the rest of you humans. So that's actually kind of on you guys. I mean, I have to deal with my rage as best I can, and I don't always do it best, and I want to do better, but you have to accept that I have to rage up to get over anxiety, period. This is epic. No Naiji has ever brought some of this game-changing into the game, which ramps the anxiety up to unprecedented levels. And then the fact that the world is being very unhelpful and has from the beginning. So I have to just go, well, I'm going to tell them the truth anyway, despite the fact that most of them are being very, very unhelpful. A lot of ferocity, say unprecedented anxiety, so I need unprecedented ferocity. I will do my best to keep that on rails and heroic and going forward and not having collateral damage. But I'm lifting some crazy heavy weights while most of you are ignoring the struggle or throwing, blah, 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 naysaying. Okay, so that's not really very helpful to me. So I have to push that out. Now that I have the Truth Fire channel, and I'm feeling braver and better. I'm not in a good state at all, but I'm better than I was when I filmed the archive videos. So I now have this release valve. I'm further along. I can control that better. And so now you'll see more of what I'd like to be able to deliver. I'm still not in a good state, as I've mentioned, but I'm getting more where I'm able to deliver the material in the way I would like to. So I take that on myself, that I need to keep improving that. As I get stronger, I must push myself to deliver it better, to be a better shepherd, to be a better natural law teacher. Okay, that's on me. But it's on the rest of the world to help me out, to help get me out of the situation of you all being possessed by stupid and toxic. Okay, so that is on you. So I have, okay, You are climbing the mountain of truth like an epic hero, and you know what? You did this unprecedented, awesome, good thing, but you could have done a little better, or you could have actually taken another route, or you could have actually had less collateral damage. Okay, that's true. That's on me. You guys are not even in the game. You're fucking up everything. You're not helping me at all. You're being a pain in my ass. You're confusing the truth. Okay, so I take ownership of my issues, and I take ownership and responsibility for improving on them and being more heroic, and you better too.